John Miller wiped sweat from his forehead as his drill bit through the red Martian rock. 6 hours into his shift, and the mining tunnel under Olympus Mons felt more like a prison than a workplace. The colony needed resources, and John needed credits. Simple math. "Miller, you seeing this?" The voice of his partner crackled through his helmet comm. John squinted at his scanner. Something was wrong. The readings jumped wildly, showing metal where there should be only stone. "Pull back," John said, but curiosity pushed him forward instead. His drill hit something that wasn't rock. The bit screeched, then stopped. The tunnel fell silent, except for John's heavy breathing. "What is it?" his partner asked. John brushed dust away with his gloved hand. A smooth surface reflected his helmet light. Not natural, not human-made either. "Get the boss," John whispered. 3 hours later, a team of scientists crowded the tunnel. They removed more rock, revealing a metal panel covered in strange symbols. John stood back, watching them work, but something pulled at him. A feeling, a need to touch it. When no one was looking, he reached out. His fingers barely brushed the surface when the panel lit up. Blue light shot from symbols that began to move and shift. Everyone jumped back, but John couldn't move. The light wrapped around his arm, warm but not burning. "Miller, get away from it!" Someone yelled. Images flooded John's mind. Tall, thin beings running. Ships leaving a planet. Fear, so much fear. They were running from something. The light vanished as quickly as it came. John fell to his knees, gasping. What happened? The lead scientist grabbed his shoulders. They were scared, John said. They left something behind. Within days, Earth governments took over. The device was cut from the rock and moved to a lab. John went with it, the only human it had responded to. Scientists worked day and night. They learned the device was a warning beacon left by a species that called themselves the Vex. The symbols were a language that slowly gave up its secrets. John couldn't sleep. Every night, the same dreams came. The Vex running, leaving, and something dark waiting. "We've translated more," Dr. Patel told him one morning. Her eyes looked worried. The Vex visited Earth millions of years ago. They were testing something. Testing what? John asked. A weapon. A biological agent designed to create perfect soldiers. But it failed. It was unstable. They abandoned it and left this warning so they'd never return. John felt cold. They left their failure on Earth? Yes, and the most interesting part, Dr. Patel showed him a screen with DNA strands. We found traces of their weapon in human DNA. All human DNA. That's not possible, John said. It is. Somehow, over millions of years, humans evolved with this weapon inside us. We adapted to it. Made it part of us. The room seemed to spin around John. So what does that make us? Dr. Patel looked at him with fear and wonder in her eyes. It makes us the thing the Vex were running from. They left their failure behind. And humanity made it dangerous. That night, John woke screaming from a new dream. Not of the past, but of the future. Ships were coming. The Vex had received their own warning. They knew their abandoned experiment had succeeded after all. 5 years passed since the discovery on Mars. The world changed. Nations that once fought each other now worked together. The threat of the Vex united humanity in ways nothing else could. Frank Daniels stared at the lab results on his screen. As head scientist of Project Weapon, he had spent years studying how Vex DNA had mixed with human genes. "Run it again," Frank told his assistant. "Sir, we've run it 10 times. The results are the same." Frank rubbed his tired eyes. The truth was hard to accept. The Vex weapon wasn't just in human DNA. Humans had mastered it. What had failed for the aliens had become part of what made humans strong. Dr. Daniels to Command Center, emergency. The voice over the speaker made Frank jump. He ran through the underground base, heart pounding. The command center was filled with military officers staring at the main screen. A small dot moved across the solar system map. "What is it?" Frank asked General Ward. "A ship. Not one of ours. It entered the system 30 minutes ago." Frank's mouth went dry. "The Vex. Looks that way. It's small. Probably a scout." John Miller stood in the corner, watching. He looked older now, his face lined with worry. The dreams had never stopped for him. "They're coming to check," John said. Everyone turned to look at him. "They want to know if their weapon is still here. Then let's show them what we've learned," General Ward said. Earth's defense fleet moved to intercept the Vex scout ship near Jupiter. Humanity had built these ships using technology reverse-engineered from the Mars beacon. They weren't as advanced as what the Vex would have, but they were the best hope Earth had. Frank and John watched from the command ship. The Vex vessel was beautiful, sleek and silver, moving like water through space. "Open communication channels," ordered Captain Lee. The screen flickered. For the first time, humans saw living Vex, tall with gray skin and large black eyes. 4 arms. The alien looked shocked to see humans. "We come in peace," Captain Lee said. The Vex spoke, its voice translated by computers. "How is this possible? You should not exist with the weapon inside you." "We adapted," Frank said, stepping forward. "What failed for you became part of us." The Vex's eyes widened. "Show me your genetic code." Frank hesitated, then sent the data. The Vex studied it, then backed away from its screen. "Impossible. You have controlled it. You have mastered what drove our test subjects insane." "We want peace," Captain Lee said. "We know why you left the warning. We know what you fear." The Vex was silent for a long moment. Then it reached for something off-screen. "No peace. You are the weapon now." The Vex ship suddenly powered up its engines. Before Earth's fleet could react, it sent a bright pulse of energy into deep space. A signal. "Stop them!" General Ward shouted. Earth ships fired, but too late. The Vex vessel exploded in a flash of light, but everyone knew the truth. The message had been sent. John fell to his knees, clutching his head. "I can feel them," he whispered. "Thousands of ships. They're coming to destroy us." Frank helped him up. "Why? We offered peace." John looked at him with fear in his eyes. "Because we're the one thing in the universe they're afraid of. We're what happens when their failure becomes a success." The world prepared for war. Cities built underground shelters. Factories worked day and night, making weapons and ships. Every country sent their best soldiers to join the United Earth Defense Force. Steve Rogers sat in a cold metal chair as doctors attached sensors to his head and chest. A former Army Ranger, he had been chosen for Project Evolution because his DNA showed the highest compatibility with the Vex weapon. "This might hurt," Dr. Frank Daniels said, holding a syringe filled with blue liquid. "Just do it," Steve said. He had volunteered for this. Everyone knew the Vex fleet was coming. Humanity needed every advantage. A needle went into his arm. Fire spread through his veins. Steve bit down on the rubber mouthpiece as pain took over his body. His back arched, muscles tightened, then darkness. When he woke, the world looked different. Sharper, clearer. He could hear conversations 3 rooms away. "How do you feel?" Frank asked. Steve stood up. His body felt light, strong. Different, better. Tests showed what had happened. The injection had activated dormant parts of the Vex weapon in his DNA. Steve could heal from wounds in minutes. His strength had doubled. But the biggest change was in his mind. "I can feel them," Steve told Frank during training. "The Vex, it's like hearing whispers from very far away." Frank nodded. "That's why we chose you. Your brain patterns matched theirs. You're our bridge to understanding them." More soldiers received the treatment. Not all survived. Those who did formed an elite unit under Steve's command. They trained to fight the coming invasion. John Miller worked with them, sharing what he had learned from his dreams and the beacon. His connection to the Vex was different from Steve's, less physical, more mental. "They're afraid," John told Steve one night as they looked at the stars. "Not just of what we are, but of what we might become." 3 months after the scout ship's message, Earth's long-range sensors detected the Vex fleet entering the solar system. Hundreds of ships, moving fast. The command center buzzed with activity. Generals gave orders. Ships launched. The first line of defense formed near Neptune. "They're broadcasting something," a communications officer said. On the main screen, words appeared. "Quarantine breach." "They see us as an infection," Frank said. "A disease that needs to be wiped out." Steve closed his eyes, reaching out with his new senses. The Vex minds were alien, but he could feel their emotions. Fear, determination, and something else. "They're not just coming to destroy us," Steve said, opening his eyes. "They're coming to study us too. They want to know how we succeeded where they failed." General Ward looked at him. "Can we use that? Find allies among them?" "Maybe, but first we need to show them we're not what they think we are." The plan formed quickly. Steve and his team would take a small, fast ship. While Earth's fleet engaged the Vex in the outer system, they would slip through to the Vex command ship. As Steve boarded his ship, John grabbed his arm. "Be careful. I've seen their leader in my dreams. The Admiral. He's different from the others." "How?" John's eyes were wide with fear. "He doesn't want to study us. He doesn't want to contain us. He wants to erase us completely." Steve nodded. "Then I'll have to change his mind." As their ship launched toward the coming battle, Steve felt the Vex Admiral's mind. Cold, ancient, and suddenly aware of Steve's presence. The alien's thoughts hit Steve like a physical blow. "They know we're coming," Steve told his team. "And they're not afraid of us. They're terrified of what we represent." The battle for Neptune was a slaughter. Human ships exploded like fireflies against the night. Vex weapons cut through Earth's best defenses as if they were paper. The outer system fell in hours. Steve watched from his stealth ship, jaw tight with anger. Each lost vessel meant dozens of dead humans. Friends, comrades. "Stay focused," he told his team of 5 enhanced soldiers. "Our mission is the only chance Earth has." Their small ship slipped past the main battle, using the chaos as cover. The Vex command ship loomed ahead, massive and dark against the stars, shaped like a blade cutting through space. "How do we get in?" asked Lisa, his second in command. Steve closed his eyes, feeling for the Vex mines. "There, Hangar Bay on the lower section. They're launching fighters." The pilot nodded and aimed for the opening. They shot through the hangar doors between Vex ships, crashing onto the metal floor. Alarms blared. "Move!" Steve shouted as they jumped from their damaged vessel. Vex soldiers appeared, tall gray figures with 4 arms, each holding a weapon. Steve felt their surprise through his mental link. They hadn't expected humans to reach their command ship. The fight was quick and brutal. Steve moved faster than he ever had before, his enhanced body flowing like water between enemies. His team followed, using their new abilities to match the stronger aliens. "This way," Steve said when the hangar was clear. He could feel the Admiral's mind like a cold star at the center of the ship. They fought through corridors, losing 2 team members to Vex ambush. The ship was a maze of metal and strange technology. Finally, they reached a massive door. "The command center," Steve said. "The Admiral is inside." Lisa placed explosives on the door. The blast echoed through the ship. They rushed in through smoke and debris. The Vex command center was a circular room filled with screens and control panels. At its center stood the Admiral, taller than the others, with skin so pale it was almost white. His 4 eyes fixed on Steve. "Human," the Admiral said, his voice translated by Steve's earpiece. "You should not exist. Yet here we are," Steve replied. weapon raised. Your kind must be destroyed. The weapon cannot be allowed to spread. Steve lowered his gun slightly. We're not a weapon. We're people. We didn't ask for your DNA to become part of us. Show him, Lisa whispered. Steve nodded and stepped forward. He opened his mind fully to the Admiral, showing him human history, their struggles, their triumphs, families, love, art, everything that made humans more than just vessels for the Vex weapon. The Admiral staggered back. Impossible. The test subjects went insane. The weapon consumed them. What test subjects? Steve asked. The Admiral touched a control panel. A screen showed images of Vex writhing in pain, their bodies changing, minds breaking. Our greatest warriors. We tried to make them perfect. The weapon was supposed to enhance them. Instead, it destroyed them from within. Steve understood suddenly. But humans adapted to it. Over millions of years, we evolved with it. Yes, what drove my people mad has made yours stronger. You are what we failed to become. A new alarm sounded. The Admiral looked at another screen, showing Earth's fleet retreating, Vex ships in pursuit. Your world will fall, the Admiral said. Some of us wanted to study you, but I convinced our leaders that you are too dangerous to exist. Steve felt rage build inside him. The weapon in his DNA responded, power flowing through his body. His skin glowed with blue light. The Admiral stepped back in fear. You're right about one thing, Steve said, his voice deeper, stronger. We are dangerous. But not in the way you think. The Admiral reached for a weapon, but Steve was faster. He grabbed the alien's arm, and as they touched, their minds connected fully. Now, Steve said, let me show you what humanity really is. The Admiral screamed as Steve's mind flooded into his. Not attacking, but sharing, showing the truth of humanity. Their fears, their hopes, their ability to grow from weakness into strength. Stop the attack, Steve demanded, releasing the alien. The Admiral fell to his knees, shaking. You are not what we thought. A blast rocked the command ship. On the screens, new ships appeared, Vex vessels firing on other Vex vessels. What's happening? Lisa asked. Civil war, the Admiral said. Some of us have been monitoring your broadcasts, learning about humans. They believe you should be studied, not destroyed. Another explosion, closer this time. The command center shook. My second in command, the Admiral explained. He leads those who oppose me. Now he attacks this ship to stop the destruction of Earth. Steve's communicator crackled. Rogers, do you read me? It was Frank Daniels. I'm here. We've reached the command ship. We have a new development. John Miller has changed. The screens showed a new battle near Earth. At its center, a small human ship glowed with blue energy. The same energy that now flowed through Steve. John activated the weapon in his DNA, Frank explained. But differently than you did. He's channeling it outward, creating some kind of field. The Admiral stared at the screen. Impossible. The field is connecting human minds together. Steve felt it too. A pull. A connection to every enhanced human in the fleet. John had somehow linked them all, making them stronger together than apart. All ships, focus fire on the main Vex battlecruiser, John's voice commanded through the shared consciousness. Earth's remaining ships moved as one, their weapons suddenly more effective. The Vex cruiser exploded in a flash of light. He's done what we never could, the Admiral whispered. United minds without losing individuality. More Vex ships arrived, those loyal to the Admiral's second-in-command. They formed a protective ring around Earth's fleet. We need to end this now, Steve told the Admiral. Order your forces to stand down. The Admiral hesitated, then nodded. The experiment is over. Humanity has proven itself. As the Admiral sent the order, Steve felt John's mind touches across the vast distance. We need you back here, John said through their connection. I can't hold this link much longer. Steve and his remaining team raced back to their ship. The Vex let them pass. As they flew toward Earth, Steve watched the Vex fleet split, half retreating into deep space, half remaining in orbit. When they landed at Command Center, John was waiting. He looked different, taller, his eyes glowing faintly blue. "You've changed," Steve said. John smiled. "We all have." The weapon wasn't a weapon at all. It was a tool for evolution. The Vex just didn't know how to use it. General Ward approached them. "The Admiral's second-in-command wants to establish diplomatic relations. They want to learn from us." "And the others?" Frank asked. "Running scared," John said. "But they'll be back someday, with more ships, more weapons." Steve looked at the sky, where Vex ships still hovered. "Then we'll be ready. What they left behind as a failure, we've made into our greatest strength." John nodded. "They created us by accident. Now we'll show them what humanity can really become." That night, as Earth celebrated its survival, Steve stood on a hill watching the stars. He could feel the Vex weapon in his DNA, no longer alien, but fully part of him, part of all humans now. The Admiral had been right about one thing. Humanity was dangerous. Not as a threat, but as a promise. A species that could take failure and transform it into power. A people who could face extinction and emerge stronger. As stars seemed brighter now, calling to them, waiting for humanity to take its place among them, not as conquerors, but as guardians of what could be. They had left their failure behind. Humanity had made it dangerous, and now humanity would make it magnificent.